All right, to dive a little deeper into this indictment, we talk with Jeff Engel, the Director of Center for Presidential History at SMU. Good morning to you.
Hi, good morning. Good to talk to you.
All right, so first let's address the magnitude of the alleged crimes in this fourth indictment. And you say, in terms of the charges, it comes dangerously close to treason?
Yes, I think that we have to remember this is the fourth time we've seen former President Trump indicted in 4 months. And you and I and the rest of America are kind of getting numb to the idea that we have a former president that's been indicted. Remember, the first couple of charges are, for most Americans, I think, narrower charges. You know, we have whether you perhaps solicited improper campaign contributions, which was the Stormy Daniels issue. We have also whether or not President Trump retained documents illegally. These last two, from Jack Smith and then this last one from Fulton County, are ones that suggest that Trump tried to overturn the election results. That's fundamental to our democracy. So when we start talking about whether or not Trump is a repeated indictee, we should remember that some are apples and some are oranges. Now, all of them can get him thrown in jail, but these are really big issues that go to the heart of what it means to live in a democracy. I really am hard-pressed to think of any issues in presidential history, not only that tell us about a president that's indicted, but tell us about a president that's indicted for actively trying to subvert the Constitution. Now, I have to stress, Donald Trump, like all Americans, is innocent until proven guilty. This is just an indictment, but that's what the indictment says.
Right, and of course, the more that we've seen of these, the more we're kind of learning the difference between state charges, federal charges. So the former president is facing state charges here, and that means if Trump were reelected, he could not pardon himself. So talk about that, please. But it also means that we're going to see this one play out on TV.
Yeah, this is actually really, I think, an important, subtle distinction between state and federal. I mean, yes, as you point out, the president has no authority over state trials. So if he is convicted, as you say, he couldn't pardon himself. It's a completely separate system. In fact, parenthetically, around Georgia election law, or excuse me, Georgia pardon laws are somewhat unusual in that a person who is convicted has to actually complete their term of punishment before they can be officially pardoned. And that's not even by the state, that's by a committee, which means the minimum standard for this kind of trial is, for this kind of charge, is 5 years of imprisonment. So that's important because the president, if he is elected, can't really say I'm running to save myself anymore because it's a completely different scenario. What's also important is that federal trials are not televised, whereas state trials are. So this is the first time I think that Americans are going to be able to actually see one of these trials if it comes to fruition. And by the way, we're months and months, if not years, away from seeing this in court. This is the first time Americans will be able to actually see the justice system in action against the former president. Now, two things I think will come from that. The first is Americans will realize just how utterly boring court proceedings actually are. But right. Secondly, historically, we know that whenever a president or a politician involved in a scandal of any time is seen or heard, that has a different impact upon voters than just hearing about it. So Richard Nixon, for example, we know that one of the things that did him in during Watergate was when the tapes of him talking about his crimes were released, and Americans could hear it with their own ears. Similarly, the January 6th committee, just for a few months ago, the video of Trump acting was something that really moved public opinion meters. So for the first time, I think we're going to actually see the evidence and the president sitting there receiving the charges against him.
Right. Now, we're out of time. We probably could spend another 5 minutes on the political fallout, which is kind of what you were alluding to there, but we just don't have the time. Jeff Engel, we appreciate the time that you spent with us. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.